Hey y'all, let's get real. It's Getting Real with Ashleydawn, and I wanted to talk to you about a toolkit. That's the name of this one, is going to be a toolkit. So, have you ever had a project? Maybe you were taking something apart, putting something together, needed to tighten something because it was loose, and you needed a tool that you didn't have. Maybe it was a Phillips, maybe it was a flathead, maybe it was a drill, maybe it was a wrench, an Allen key, whatever that thing was, you needed it in that moment and you didn't have it. And so it made what you were doing or what you wanted to do very difficult. Okay? I've been there. And I have been frustrated in the moment. When you want something so bad, or you want to do something so bad, but you know that you don't have the tools to accomplish it. And yes, sometimes, you can ask a friend and they can let you borrow theirs. And sometimes you can just get creative and, my daddy would call it, you'd get a stroke of redneck genius, right? And so you'd have to figure something out because you were broke and you didn't have nothing, so you had to make it. And normally it was duct tape or WD-40 or something, that you had to shimmy something together. Here's everything that I want to say in this. Sometimes you don't have the tools because the time isn't right. It says in the Bible that He has made everything beautiful in its time. That's Ecclesiastes 3:11. What does that mean, Ashleydawn? Well, a lot of time we get in front of God, or at least we try to get in front of God, and we're like, God, I got this. Like, I don't need your help. I can do this. I can do it all by myself. I can fix this. I can do this. I don't need your help. But here's the thing, sometimes we do. And sometimes the help that we need from God is His vision, His wisdom, His guidance to know now's not the time. Have you ever met someone and you're like, oh my gosh, they're wonderful, but you're like, now's not the time. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for the gift that they have. So, could be a job. You may meet someone and be like, man, I'd really love to work with them. I'd really love to be on their team. But the timing isn't right. Maybe they're not hiring at the moment and they say, I'd really love to hire you, but I'm not hiring right now. Or maybe they want to hire you, but they can't afford you yet. And, you're crunching numbers and you're like, I just can't make it work. I have a friend right now, she's in between jobs, and we were talking yesterday, just about what she would need to sign on with a new company. And everybody wants to hire her because she's dynamic, but they can't afford her. They can't afford her salary. They can't afford the budget that she needs. They can't afford the company vehicle. They can't afford the tools that she will need to do her job successfully. So now's not the time. Doesn't mean that the time won't come in the future, but now she has to see where God has her and the tools that He's given her in this moment and how she can use them. I can only talk about myself. And I've preached a couple sermons at different places. One was about batteries and a remote control. And I have that on a little CD thing. I always kick myself when I go to speak because I want to record it and then I forget. And then afterwards I ask the people, I'm like, you recorded it, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we recorded it. And it's the audio version and not the video. And I'm like, dang it. I should have set my phone on a tripod or just set it on a table and recorded it myself. But I didn't. Lesson learned. I've spoken this message multiple times because this is a lesson that God has taught me a bunch of times and is continuing to teach me. I don't have all the tools that He has designed me to have at all times. Sometimes I'm in the classroom and He's teaching me how to use those tools before He ever even gives them to me. Prayer is a tool. And some of us forget that. Some of us forget you can talk to God at any time. The veil was torn. When Jesus defeated sin, hell, and the grave, the veil was torn. You no longer have to go to a high priest. You no longer have to give burnt offerings. Your prayers, your worship is an offering unto the Lord. That veil was torn. You don't need a middleman. You don't need an interpreter. Yes, pastors are great, but you don't need one. You have a Bible. You can read it yourself and God will make it come alive to you. It is a living, active, two-edged sword, and it will cut through all the lies this world will throw at you. The more you read your Bible, the closer you'll feel to Him. The less you read the Bible, the less you'll feel close to him. Trust me, been there, done that. I can tell my spirit, I can tell my attitude, I can tell how loving I am based on how much time I'm spending praying and reading my Bible. Those are tools in my tool belt that if I do not make sure that they are there, I won't have the necessary tools to do the job or whatever God has placed before me that day. And I'll probably fail. I have tried to put together furniture without an Allen key, and I've tried to take apart furniture without an Allen key. And every single time it's difficult and I break something. Sometimes my nails, sometimes my clothes, sometimes whatever I'm trying to use to shimmy stuff apart. All I needed was an Allen key, but I didn't have one for whatever reason. Have you thought about that to yourself? I really need this tool, but I don't have it. I really want to tighten this picture frame, but I don't have a screwdriver. I really want to put this in the wall, but I don't have a drill. I like to use thumbtacks for almost everything. I love thumbtacks. I think they're one of the greatest inventions ever. Eventually, when I move out of the house that I'm renting, I will have to patch up the walls something fierce because I have thumbtacked pretty much all over the walls because I'm hanging stuff. And now I do have like my cross wall, and that has nails and screws and stuff. So I will have to patch that. But I take very good care of the house that I'm renting because I know that God has gifted it to me for this season. And I'm very grateful to the landlords and all the people that helped me get into that house. So I'm very grateful. But there have been times where I've really needed a nail. But I'm like, let me just see if I could use a thumbtack. And then the thumbtack don't hold. Sometimes you don't have the tools. That's why you can't do the job. And sometimes when you don't have the tools, it's because God hasn't given them to you because that's not the job he wants you to have. Okay, I'll say that again for the people in the back. Sometimes you can't do the job because you don't have the tools. And sometimes you don't have the tools because God hasn't given them because that's not your job to do. Sometimes you will meet people and they will be great and wonderful and they will want a relationship with you, and you will just not have peace in your spirit, and you'll struggle with it, and you'll wrestle with God, and you'll be like, but God, they're so nice, and you know, they make me feel nice and they treat me so nice. And God's like, nope, that's not the one. I'm not going to give you peace. I'm not going to release you. I have your heart in the palm of my hands. I have the key to your heart. I'm not going to give it to anybody till I know that they will steward it well. And that person is great, but they don't have all the tools that they will need to be the man in your life. Or if you're a man watching, they don't have all the tools they'll need to be a woman in your life. It takes a lot of tools to be married. It takes patience, forgiveness, long-suffering, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. It takes commitment and loyalty and respect. And if any one of those things are missing, you're going to have a flawed marriage, and you're going to struggle, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to probably question God, why'd you give me this person? They're broken. Yeah, guess what? You both are. And it's going to take a lot of work from both of you to make it work. Now, if you're forcing something to work, that's your sign too that it's not from God. Loving that person should be the easiest thing that you wake up and do. You should wake up in the morning wanting to breathe love for that person, because of that person, to that person. No, that's not to worship them, but God puts inside of us this desire to make other people's lives better, especially the one that we're in love with, especially the one that we love. We should be the most patient with that person. We should show the most grace to that person. Oftentimes we don't because they know us the most and they irritate us the most and we're with them the most. But every day we should wake up wanting to love that person more than we did the day before. Wanting to care for them, care for their needs, care for their emotions, care for their spirit. Pray over them. Pray that God blesses their day. Pray that God goes before them and helps them with all the difficulties that they face that they may not share with you. Maybe your husband wants to be tough all the time and he wants you to think that he hung the moon. And maybe he thinks that if he showed any kind of weakness to you, you'd throw it in his face, or you'd disrespect him, or you'd think less of him, or you'd put him down. Don't do that. That's not right. If you love someone, you should constantly be lifting them up, thinking of ways to make their life better. And sometimes at the expense of yourself. Sometimes that thing that you want to say so bad doesn't need to be said. Bite your tongue. If you're getting ready to say something, think about it. Is it thoughtful? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? If it is none of those 5 things, you should not say it. Absolutely not. If it's mean, if it's disrespectful, if it's unkind, don't say it. And I will go even further. You should halt. If you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, shelf the conversation. Get some food. Get a nap. Be in your right mind before you try to fix that thing. Those are tools to navigate a relationship. You can even have a friendship. Maybe it's somebody you work with. Maybe you're a teacher, right? Kids are going back to school, and maybe you have a assistant and you're together all the time and you want them to read your mind, but they don't. And so you snap at them or you're unkind to them. It's not going to build up the relationship. If you love them, if you care for them, if you truly appreciate the help that they give you in your classroom. Thinking about one of my friends, Jessica. When she first started, she was my assistant. And we worked together in a VPK classroom, and she was an awesome assistant. When she first came to work, I didn't like her, but I didn't know her heart. And I told her, I didn't like her. And we laugh about it now. I told the boss I didn't like her. I'm like, I don't really think you should hire that person. I don't like her. And she hired her anyway, and then she stuck us together. And guess what? We became best friends. Isn't it funny how that works? And I learned a lot. Jessica does watch my videos, so hey girl, I love you. I learned a lot from her being my assistant. And I thought that I was going to be the one teaching her, but she taught me a lot. She taught me grace. How to give grace to somebody that isn't kind to you. Because it was not kind that I told her I didn't like her. It was not kind that I was a little mean to her. But she showed me grace. And she showed up every day, and she tried her best. And we're great friends now. And I have her back, and she's got mine, and I love her, and she was there for me through one of the hardest situations in my life. And when I went through my divorce, she went through hers a couple years later, and we, relied on each other and encouraged each other and spoke the word of God over each other. And when the enemy came in with all of his lies, we reminded each other of God's goodness. When we started dating people that weren't good enough for us, she called me out, I called her out. We have each other's back. We extend grace to each other. And sometimes it's hard. I'm not trying to make it like it's the easiest thing in the world. Sometimes when you're together with somebody 24/7 and you can't get a break, it's hard to show grace because you take them for granted and you forget how special they are and what a gift and what a treasure they are in your life. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't know if it's that it makes the heart grow fonder. I think in somebody's absence, you appreciate them more. If somebody's always laughing with you and always talking to you, and then you're by yourself and it's silent, you miss that laughter. You miss that person. You miss that warmth that they bring to your life. If somebody's always going on fun little adventures with you, even if it's just to the grocery store, Ace Hardware, a fast food place, you miss it when they're not there. You miss it when you can't look into their eyes, when you can't see their smile, when you can't hear their laugh, when you can't hold their hand. You miss it. There's something missing in your life. And sometimes God will allow something to be missing in our lives so that we can see his bigger picture. Sometimes that tool that we need, that we haven't quite got yet, he's teaching us something in the waiting before he gives it to us, that when he does give it to us, we'll know how to use it better. Could you imagine giving a samurai sword to a 3-year-old? That would be very dangerous. But if you give that same samurai sword to a 30-year-old that has trained for 20, maybe 15 years on how to use a sword. Same sword, different hands, different situation, different training. Sometimes the gifts that God's given us haven't developed in us because it's not time for them to. And sometimes we get so impatient. I just think of Abraham and Sarai. They were so impatient. They knew what God told them. He would be a father of many nations. He would have children. But they got impatient. They're like, you know what? God, we can help you. That is the biggest mistake you'll ever make in your life, is you think you can help God. You can't. You absolutely cannot. He is the only one that can help anybody. And if we surrender to him, he can use us to help other people, but we can't help him. We're not that big. We're not that smart. We're not that powerful. We're just not. And that's not putting anybody down. It's the truth. He is all knowing. He is all being. He is omniscient, omniscient. Yes. Sometimes I stumble over my words if they're like bigger words that I don't say all the time. He's everywhere at all times. He's right here in this truck. He's probably laughing at half of the things I'm saying. Like, girl, what are you doing? Sometimes we just need to be patient and wait until he gives us those tools. I'm 39 years old. I know I say that a lot because I'm proud of it. I'm grateful for all the years that life God has given me, and I pray I get many more. And when I look back over my life and I look at different times in my life to where I wasn't ready for the things that I wanted. I look at times when I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. I look at the times when, like, for instance, when I first started dating, high school, I wanted to be a mom so bad. I had started saving baby clothes, like a little hope chest for baby clothes, like mostly vintage because I love everything vintage. I'm very old fashioned. And I'd go thrifting and flea markets and all this stuff. And people would know that I liked vintage clothes, so they'd give me some. And I had this little hope chest, which turned into a very big hope chest. And I had all these vintage clothes. I still have some of them. And I wanted to be a mom, so I wanted to get married right out of high school. I was engaged, my graduation night. Probably not the greatest idea, but I was engaged my graduation night. And I wanted to be married so bad. I wanted to get married, start having babies, have the fairy tale life that I saw my mom and dad have. And when I say fairy tale, I just mean in love. We were poor. We didn't have a whole lot. We were rich in love, but we didn't have a lot of monetary stuff. Never mattered to me. I never cared about that stuff. But when I look back, and I can look back and see all that, I was not ready. If I would have done the things that I wanted to do, and I would have gotten married right out of high school, I wouldn't have had the first clue on how to love a husband. I wouldn't have had the first clue on how to appreciate a good man. I wouldn't have had the first clue on how to raise babies. Then when I started dating after college, I dated a guy who had a little girl. I absolutely loved her. Her name was Emily. And I wanted to be her stepmom so bad. And I bought all these stepmom books, and I was reading Stepping Stones for Stepmoms and trying to learn. And I thought I was ready. I thought I could handle it. I couldn't. I didn't have the tools. I was very young and very naive and very immature. And so that relationship ended. Great guy. Don't have anything bad to say about him. He treated me like a queen. Very respectful. Very pure relationship. We honored the Lord. We were not inappropriate at all. And so I didn't have the tools for the job that I wanted to have. I wanted to be a wife and a stepmom, and I didn't have the tools. And so it didn't work out. And then I met my ex-husband. And I thought, oh, now's the time, right? I've been going to church, and put in there in the middle, I had been a teacher for 11 years. And I had trained kids, so I figured, well, now I'm ready to be a mom. I know how to take care of kids. I know how to take care of babies. I know how to potty train. And I've learned, I have all these new tools that I could be a mom now. This is after the Emily situation. So now I have all the tools that I could be a mom, that I could be a wife. And so then I got married, and then I realized, oh no, I don't have all these tools. I was very naive prior to getting married, and I married essentially a stranger. I was not patient enough to build a friendship with him first. We met through an elderly lady at church, and he came down. He lived in Ohio, and he came down, and we went on a date, and he told me he loved me, literally first date. And I'm like, you don't even know me. And I literally said that. And then I didn't really know. Well, I stood him up on the first day. I didn't show up. And then the second date, I showed up, and he told me he loved me. And then the third date, I think he asked my dad if I would date him, if I would be his girlfriend. And then it was like maybe the fifth date, he asked me to marry him. And here's the crazy part. I said yes. And granted, on paper, it all checked out. Man of God, loves the Lord, virgin, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs, doesn't have addictions, wants to go to church, wants to be a missionary, wants to be in ministry, wants to serve the Lord, and he put it on thick in the beginning. Ladies that are watching this, do not, and I repeat, do not marry a man that you haven't been friends with for at least a couple years. At least. Do not do it. You need to know that person inside and out. You need to have a strong, solid foundation of friendship. You can't just marry somebody because they say they love God. You can't just marry somebody because you sit next to them in church. You can't just marry somebody because they're attracted to you and they think you're pretty and you think they're cute or handsome or whatever. You can't marry somebody for that. You have to have a foundation. That's like building a house without setting the footings, without setting the rebar, without setting the foundation, without pouring the concrete. That house is going to sink. And that's what's going to happen if you marry somebody without a foundation of friendship and respect and love. It ain't going to work. I don't care who it is. I don't care how great they are. It's not going to work. Listen to me. If I could scream it, I would. I mean, I don't really raise my voice a lot normally. I get quieter. But if I could scream it, I would. Do not marry somebody that you haven't been friends with first. And for a extended friendship. I'm not talking about, oh, we've been friends for 3 months. No. Years of friendship. Do not marry somebody. Do not even think about marrying somebody unless you have years developed friendship. Trust me. So, 5th, 6th date, I have no idea who this person is. At the time, I don't even think I knew his middle name. And I say yes because it looks good on paper and because this little old lady next to me at church, told me that he was this great guy. And so I believe it. I was very naive. I was very young. I was like 24, 25. And I believed it. And I still wanted the fairy tale. I still wanted the kids and the husband and the whole nine. But I didn't have the tools to know that a friendship was crucial. I didn't know. I didn't have the tools. I had went to a million marriage conferences and they had told me, wait until marriage for sex. And I even waited until marriage to kiss. I did not hold his hand until we got engaged, and he didn't see me in a bathing suit till our honeymoon, and I did not kiss him until we were at the altar. I also do not recommend that. If God has called you to do that, do it, but I don't recommend it. So in my head, I thought we were doing things the right way because all the sermons in church that I had heard about marriage and all the marriage conferences I went to, stay abstinent, stay pure, stay holy, don't lay in bed together, don't have sex together. And I agree. You need to respect the Lord, especially if you're a young woman, because there are men that will take advantage of you. So I do not recommend that at all. I don't even recommend being out after 10 o'clock if you're a young lady. There's nothing good that happens after 10 o'clock. So don't do it. And don't be alone. Don't put yourself in situations where inappropriate things can happen, especially if you're a young lady or a young man, because it can happen to you too. There are crazy people out there. But I look back and I wish there would be a marriage conference on being friends first. There probably would be a lot less divorces if we preached friendship first instead of telling people not to have sex. Instead of telling people, oh, just wait till your wedding night. Oh, great. Now you just waited, let's say you waited a year. And so now you're having sex and you have no foundation whatsoever. You have no friendship, maybe a little bit because you've been going on dates, but you need solid friendship where it's not romantic, where you're literally just that person's friend for years so that you can develop that friendship, so that when anything comes along, you have something to put it on that's not going to change, that's not going to shift like sand. I cannot encourage people enough. And I would not know that currently if I hadn't gotten to this point in my life and didn't have that tool in my tool belt now. I know that friendship matters. I know that friendship comes first. Why? Because the last 5 years, I've been friends with somebody. It's very important to me. And we've been just friends, respecting each other, having each other's back, encouraging each other. Just friends. I've dated people. He's dated people. And we've had each other's back. We've been there for each other as friends. And that foundation has been set. So now that when you put a relationship on top of it, it has something to stand on. It has something that isn't going anywhere. I know him. He knows me inside out. We can look at each other and kind of know what the other person's thinking. Not completely, but we got a good idea. That would never happen had we not spent the time to build the friendship first. Ever. Ever. It would not have happened. And so I just want to encourage you. If you're young, if you're old, if you're, wanting a relationship, if you're looking around, and maybe inspect your tool belt. See what tools you're missing. Do you have patience? Do you have kindness? Are you honest? Do you have loyalty? Is there a tool that is missing from your tool belt? And if there is, ask God to help you develop that tool. He'll help you. I am so grateful, and I'm not perfect, but I am so grateful for the lessons that I have learned over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years, over the last 13 years. When I got divorced in 2016, I honestly thought my life was over. I really did. And I talked to my daddy a lot. He held my hand when I signed the divorce papers, and he prayed over me. And he's like, Ash, I thought my life was over when I got a divorce too. And God showed me your mom, and he showed me you, and he showed me more love than I've ever known in my life. And one day, you're going to look back and you're going to see the same thing. And my dad was right. He normally was always right. I do look back and I do see the same thing. I thought my life was over, but my life it hadn't even really got started yet. I was still collecting tools from my tool belt. And I still am. I'm always forever going to be collecting tools. And trying to get better, and trying to be wiser, and trying to be kinder, and trying to be stronger. I'm not perfect. I never will be. Nobody will be. The only perfect person is Jesus. And isn't that crazy that even though he was perfect, he was still hated? So that just shows you don't have to be perfect. People are going to hate you anyway. People are going to have problems with you anyway. What tools do you need to develop? When you get ready to go to a job, maybe you have a career that you want to do. Maybe you want to be a doctor. Maybe you want to be a nurse. Maybe you want to be a teacher. You have to get training for that. You got to go to school. You got to learn some skills. Well, a relationship needs a lot of skills too. Maybe spend some time developing patience, developing kindness, developing loyalty, developing honesty. And if I can encourage you, build a friendship, a solid friendship, so that if and when anything ever develops after the fact, you know that person inside and out, and you know that they have your back, and you know that if they were the last person in the world and you were in the hospital, they'd be holding your hand and speaking life over you. I am so grateful, and I've kind of been waiting to share this information because I know a lot of people follow my journey and have followed me for years, and I've been single for a very long time. I've gone on dates and I've dated people here and there, and like I said, I've had, situationships. But I am so happy and so blessed and so grateful to announce that I am in a relationship with somebody that I deeply admire, with somebody that I deeply respect, with somebody that I just think the world of and makes me feel like I can do anything, encourages in me daily, constantly speaks God's truth over me, is my best friend, and has been a very good friend for 5 years. I'm very grateful. And I'm very excited, if you can't tell. I try to tone it down, but I don't have a poker face and I can't lie. I'm very blessed and very grateful. And so for everybody that has prayed for me, I know Alexis, you're probably watching this and you're probably screaming, yeah! Because you have been praying for me for years and years and years and years. And you speak life over me all the time, and you tell me all the time, one day God's going to give you a man that is going to love you like Jesus does. And I can honestly say, I think that time is here, and I'm so excited for everything that's to come, and I'm just blessed to be the woman next to him. So I just wanted to share that really exciting news. I'm in a relationship with a really, really wonderful man that I love very much and that loves me very much, and I'm excited for what God has in store. I love you. Make sure that you are growing. Make sure that you are inspecting that tool belt, and make sure that you're praying for God's perfect timing, because it will not make sense with anyone until the time is right, and God will show you. I love you. I'll catch you in the next one. Oh, what am I doing? You are seen, you are celebrated, and you are oh so very loved. Don't you ever forget that. I love you, but more importantly, God loves you. I'll catch you in the next one.